Hi, I'm Chuck Dorsett from Weaver Leather Craft Supply, and this is the Leather Element. Send us a question, and once a week, we will do our best to give you a quality answer. Now, this week, great question, great answer. Can I mix my dyes? Absolutely. In fact, we can get some gorgeous colors that are not available on the market. But here's the second part to that. As we mix and develop our own colors, our projects therefore become indicative of us. That is a great point. Mix your own dyes. In fact, right here, this is a great tip too. Old jars from your kitchen, pickle jars or relish jars, as long as they're glass. Well, plastic works as well. Great place to store dye. But I like this mix so much, I keep it ready to go in my shop. It's a 1-to-1 light brown mahogany. Now this is an oil dye though. I don't typically work with alcohol dyes. The colors seem to be, well, roughly flat and lifeless, and I'm not a big fan of that. But when we jump over to oil dyes, my reds are reds, my green are green, and my browns, good earth tone browns. Alcohol dyes are bad about having a red or yellow tint to the browns. All right, so jump over to oil, you'll never go back. Now, let's look at a couple of picks here. Nothing fancy. In fact, these are dye mixes on scrap. Well, again, we bought that scrap, we're gonna use it, right? Okay, so, first pick. Now, on the left, the camera simply is not gonna do justice to the light brown. It is a beautiful color. Step down to that, or from that, 1-to-1 light brown, dark brown. Now, notice how little variation we have there. Actually, that's a great point because that gives us all kinds of room for error. The third one down, my favorite dye color, 1-to-1 light brown and mahogany. On the right side, I've got two swatches, yellow and red. Half the swatch, dye only, the other half is a Sadillac top coat. Now, one of the swatches, 1-to-1 and 1-to-2, red, yellow. I've used a leather balm on one, or on half, and a Sadillac on the other half. Now, the leather balm's going to darken that just a little bit, but in my opinion, gives it a little bit more rich color, where Sadillac's going to keep that color right where it is. And then 2-to-1, red, yellow, that actually seems to be about the best mix. All right, so jumping over to the second pick, green. On the left, of course, the swatch, dye only, and then a top coat. Now, 1-to-1 green and yellow, that really starts to lighten up that green. But if we jump over to 2 green and 1 blue, now we're kind of almost working into more of a teal area. And that will be a gorgeous color. Just need to work on that a little bit. And then 2 green, 1 blue, 1 yellow, very rich, but kind of a deep green. Purple, in all honesty, that's a cordovan. I would really like to see it a little brighter, but with 2 red, 2 blue, adding a little bit of yellow in there, that's getting me headed in the right direction. But then again, with that nice deep purple, 2 red, 1 blue seems to be a perfect combination. So yes, we can absolutely mix dyes and they are gorgeous. But also too, here's a couple of quick, easy tips for mixing our dyes, because it's super easy to waste a lot of dye, and then I have colors there that I will never use. All right, this is gonna look funny, but I tend to use this little eyedropper. Well, it's kind of puny. And your first thought is, wow, that's not gonna mix much dye. Well, actually, that's the point. Because what I can do is say I'm using 3 parts or 2 parts. That will be 2 or 3 of these, which in my glass container, glass or plastic to mix or to a store. So if I drop 2 parts in there, that's just enough dye to fill up a dauber and enough dye to dye a piece about 4 by 4 square inches. More than enough to get a good feel for the color. And when you use that, there's no dye left. No dye wasted. Now we're going to trash a dauber. They're inexpensive and we can do that. But again, use a dauber for each new mix so you can get a good true color. Now, last thing, and this can be very confusing, and I don't have a sample here. It's actually on the back of these. But I tend to write down what I'm going to mix before I mix it because it's so easy to get confused. If I write it down on my swatch, mix that, put that on my swatch, no confusion, no mistakes. I know exactly what I'm looking for. Now, so when I get my mix, then I can get fancy. I can bump up to the bigger containers for measurement. But I've wasted no dye getting there, and I know exactly what that dye is going to look like. Well, I hope this is good information for you. Thanks for taking time to watch the Leather Element. Good luck with your projects.